Hello, everyone. I know some of you are going to be very sad that you don't get to see me as I do this lesson, but the writing is too difficult. So this whole unit, we've been dealing with lines and manipulation of lines, inverses, perpendicular, parallel. So now we are trying to solve a system of equations. So you have seen solving equations for the last couple of courses. I know Algebra 1, Geometry both had solving the equations. So when we look at solving equations by substitution and elimination. Now, if it's a part 1 question they want you to solve, very simply, you go to your calculator and you do menu, algebra 2. Number of equations 2, the variables are x and y, enter, and then just plug in your equation. So my first equation is 3x plus 2y equals -9. And then the second equation is 2x plus y equals -7. Hit enter, and you get -5,3, and that is your solution. So the solution is -5,3. Even if it's a part 2 question or a 3 question, you still do that first, because you'll get at least 1 point for having the right answer. Now, to go over substitution and elimination. Substitution is the first one, so you have to substitute for one variable. So that means I try to find a variable that has a leading coefficient of 1, which is the y. So I'm going to rewrite this as y equals -2x minus 7. Then I'm going to take this value for y and substitute in for the y in the first equation. So I have 3x plus 2, -2x minus 7 equals -9. So now you're solving for one variable. Distribute the 2 to both terms. So I have 3x minus 4x minus 14 equals -9. Combine like terms, and then add the 14. Add the 14. So I have -x equals 5. And then you need to divide by -1. And I have x equals -5. Once you find that value, you then take the x and plug it into one of the equations. Either one is fine. So I'm going to plug it into the second one, 2x plus y equals -7. Put the -5 right in there. So I have -10 plus y equals -7. Add 10. Add 10. Y equals 3. And that is solving by substitution. Now, elimination. What we do in elimination is we want to make sure everything is lined up. The x's, the y's, the constants, the equal signs, and the addition subtraction are all lined up. And then you need to choose which one you want to get rid of. You can get rid of the x or the y. I'm going to get rid of the y because it's easier to get rid of. I only have to multiply one of the equations, and I'm going to multiply by -2, because your goal is to have the same leading coefficient in front of the variable, one positive, one negative. So I have 3x plus 2y equals -9, -4x minus 2y equals 14. That number is very important. So many times I see students forget that number. Okay, so what happens is the y's cancel. I have -x equals 5. Divide again by -1. And x equals -5. Okay, just like we had over there in the original. And then just like we did in the last one, plug it in for one of the equations and solve for y. And it's your ordered pair. Now, when you have 3 variables, very similar, you can still use your calculator. So I'm going to pause this. Well, actually, we'll do this first. Okay, so calculator, and again, those buttons are menu, algebra 2. So you're solving a system of equations, and this time the number of equations will be 3. Enter. So there you go. Now you have the 3. So I'm going to pause and put them all in. So, okay, I have them all in. I'm just double checking them. Make sure you're very careful with the subtraction and the negative. You can see, I don't know if I can write on it without mixing it up. So you can see in the third equation, the negative sign in front of the 4x looks different than the subtraction sign in front of the z, as well as the negative in front of the 14. So just be very careful of that. So once you get them all in, double check it like I said, enter, and there are your solutions. 7, 3, negative 2. So even, and I saw this on part 3 one time, part 4 even, I think. So it's worth a lot of points. So you already know the solution is 7, 3, negative 2. And you put it in order of x, y, z. Okay? I've seen it on part 1 where they just ask for the solution and they just want you to throw it in your calculator. So here you go, you got the answer. So now we want to go through and solve for one variable, then the second, then the third. So I always, just like they do, I number them 1, 2, and 3. So you have to choose. I'm going to explain, instead of reading this verbatim, the A and the B. So you choose which variable you're going to get rid of. So if you look at the z's, that looks to be the easiest because they all have a leading coefficient of 1, and you have positives and negatives. So I am going to use equations 1 and 2, and then 1 and 3. Identify which ones you're using. So it makes it easier for me to follow and easier for the grader. So 1 and 2, you rewrite 2x plus y plus z equals 15. The second equation is 6x minus 3y minus z equals 35. And what you notice is the z's are going to cancel. So then you have 8x minus 2y equals 50. I don't know why that switched on me. And then you're going to do the next one. Otherwise, that would have looked like a 5 instead of a 6 or something. So the next one, 1 and 3, I don't know how to change it back. 2x. I'm going to go to this. 2x plus y plus z equals 15. That's 1. And the third one is negative 4x plus 4y minus z equals negative 14. So again, the z's are going to cancel. And so what do we have? We have negative 2x plus 5y equals 1. So now you are just to a 2-variable solving. So I'm going to move these over here. I have 8x minus 2y equals 50. And then negative 2x plus 5y equals 1. Again, you want to find out what's the easiest to eliminate. I would not use substitution here because there's a lot more manipulation. So I am going to get rid of the x's because I would just have to multiply this by 4. So when I multiply that by 4, I get negative 8x plus 20y equals 4. Again, don't forget that last one. So the two equations I'm looking at are the top and the bottom. So as you can see, the x's cancel. Then I have negative 2y plus 20 is an 18y. And then I have a 50 plus 4 is a 54. Divide by 18, divide by 18. Y equals 3. And we check that. All the way back up here. Yep, y is 3. We're all good. Now, you have to work your way back. So the y equals 3. I'm going to go, it doesn't matter which one, I'm going to go here. Okay, I'm going to plug it into that one. So I have negative 2x plus 5 times 3 equals 1. And then I have negative 2x plus 15 equals 1. Let me extend this page. And negative 2x equals negative 14. X is 7. X equals 7. Okay, and you can look up top and see it. And then go all the way back to the one of the originals. I'm going to use the top one because it looks to be the easiest, the nicest to work with. So 2 times 7, because that's your x, plus y is 3, plus z equals 15. So we have 14 and 3 is 17, plus z equals 15. Bring the 17 over, and you have z equals -2. And you can double check your solutions, and there you have the 7, 3, -2. That was the most basic that you would have to solve for, because we didn't really have to manipulate anything in the beginning. Once you got to the two variables, you can manipulate it. You've done it before. So we're going to move on with the next example. And again, you have your menu, okay, and then algebra and 2, okay, if you want to double check that, okay, in order to get the answers. So menu algebra 2, and you get your answers of -5, 8, -2. Okay, so there's your x, y, and z. When I look at this, I am looking at probably the y's. Because again, I look at the leading coefficient and I see two of the y's have 1's in front of them. Okay, and I see that one's positive, one's negative. So I'm right away, I am going to use, first I'm going to use 1 and 3. 1 and 3, because I see the y's are going to be gone right off the bat. So 1 is 4x plus y minus 3z equals -6. And 3 is 5x minus y minus 7z equals -19. So the y's gone right off the bat. So then I have 9x minus 10z equals -25. And now it's totally up to you which ones you use. I think I'm going to use, which one am I going to use? I'll use 1 and 2. I'll use 1 and 2. Doesn't matter. You can use 1 and 2, 2 and 3. So if I use 1 and 2, I'm going to multiply the first one by a -4. And I probably should have used 2 and 3. That looks to be easier, but I've already made my decision. Okay, so 1 and 2. So I multiply that by 4 because I need to get rid of y again. And this one's a positive 4y, so I need a -4y. So I have a -16x minus 4y plus 12z equals 24. Again, be very careful of that last term. Don't forget it. And I said 2, so that's a -2x plus 4y plus 2z equals 38. Okay? And then combine. Again, the y's are canceling. So then I have a -18x, 18, plus 14z equals 62. Okay, now you take these two equations. Look, it looks messy. It's going to be. Yeah, I should have enough room. So we have, I'll do it over here. I'll do a line. I'm going to do it over here to the left. We have 9x minus 10z equals -25. And then 18x, -18x. Oh, not too bad. Plus 14z equals 62. Because I can just multiply this top by a 2. So that's not bad at all. So I'm multiplying that by a 2 so that I get rid of the x's. So I have an 18x minus 20z equals -50. And then 14z, boy, oh boy, this writing, 14z, supposed to be the most up-to-date, remember, equals 62. Okay, combine those, that's gone. And I have a -6z equals 12. Z equals -2. So that's your first one. So z is -2. So then you go back, plug it in. So I'm going to plug it in 9x minus 10 times a -2 equals -25. 9x, this is a plus 20 equals -25. 9x equals -45. X is -5. Okay, so we have x and z. Let's go back up here and check. X is -5, z is -2. We are in excellent shape. And then go all the way up to the top and choose an equation. I choose the top one again. 4 times negative 5. We don't know y, so plus y minus 3 times a negative 2 equals negative 6. Do the manipulation on your own. Y equals 8. Okay? And that is the y term. See, I knew I wouldn't have enough time. I'm already at 15 minutes. All right, so the last one. I'm going to show you how to get rid of one of the variables, and then you can complete it. And you can complete it to hand in when you come into class on Monday. So it's going to be for a grade. You're going to complete the work and hand it in to me. So do it on a separate sheet of paper. And you already know the answers. Okay? So the answers are negative 1 and negative 3 and 7. So you should know whether or not you're going to get a perfect score. Okay? So what am I? Let's label these 1, 2, and 3. So let's get rid of, let's get rid of the x's. Okay? So in order to get rid of the x's, I'm going to do 1 and 2 again. So 1 and 2, so we have 4x minus 2y plus 3z equals 23. So if I get rid of the x's, I need to multiply this second equation by a negative 4. So that gives me negative 4x minus 20y plus 12z equals, and use your calculator if you have to. So I have the 37 times 4, which is a positive 148. Okay? I stalled a little bit so I can do that in my head and get it for you. So then the x's are gone. So then I have a negative 22y plus 15z equals 171. Now the next one I'm going to use is 2 and 3. So get rid of that negative 4. Okay, we need to get rid of the x again. So now I'm going to multiply this one by 2. So I have 2x plus 10y minus 6z equals negative 74. And then negative 2x, negative 2x, I don't know why it's skipping, plus y plus 4z equals 27. X's are gone. I have an 11y minus 2z equals negative 47. Okay, so those are my equations with the x and the y. And we rewrite it as negative 22y plus 15z equals 171. And 11y minus 2z equals negative 47. So this is where I want you to pick it up to hand in on Monday at the beginning of class. I want you to solve for one of the variables first. I know which one I would solve for. And then show me finding the other two variables. Rewind, look what I did in the previous two, and you should already know whether you're right or wrong. Okay, make sure you have that beginning of class Monday.